Founded in 1917, Lions Club International would make its debut in Portland with the formation of the Portland Downtown Lions Club in 1922. In 1925, noted speaker and advocate Helen Keller was invited to address the Lions National Convention in Ohio.
And at that convention, she asked us to be her knights to help her fight blindness, find cures, and address the needs of the blind in any way that we could.
And she kind of, in essence, challenged the Lions.
And so Lions took on the job of sight and hearing and trying to help a lot of people who had eye maladies or needed glasses, and there was a big need for that.
Portland Downtown Lions is the first Lions Club that was formed in Oregon. So even though we didn't personally charter every single club in Oregon, we were the beginning of that club.
They went to smaller towns, suburbs of Portland, and found influential people in those cities, and they got them organized and in many cases formed a Lions Club.
Philanthropy was on the rise, setting the stage for the Portland Downtown Lions for decades to come.
An organization that's been around for 100 years. I'm 72. This organization is 28 years older than I am, and I'm not a kid. So anything that, whether a 100-year anniversary, 100 anything, is something to be celebrated, and you should not want to take the opportunity to celebrate your 100. I'll just leave it at that.
After the Great Depression and World War II, a lot of the soldiers came back from service, and they wanted to get involved in their community. And so they joined these organizations partly to communicate with each other for business reasons, but also because they wanted to improve their communities.
I think when these men did come home, they applied those principles from World War II by taking people from all walks of life, all kinds of backgrounds, and bringing them together, having them work towards a common cause.
I was in the club since '58, and there was a few of them that came to our club once in a while and say, hey, you know, really want to thank you guys for helping us out because of the fact that we came home and we didn't have a job and so forth. People in the club who were, most of them business people and business owners and so forth, and they provided a lot of jobs for the people that came back from the war.
As the 40s came to a close, Lions clubs were springing up in Portland and throughout Oregon at a rapid pace. Community service was now going statewide. The 50s roared in, with the club expanding to growing families. The baby boom had arrived.
That time we were putting on a Christmas party for kids. The Salvation Army in turn came up with a list of kids that they were not going to have much of a Christmas. So we in turn bought shoes for each one of the kids and take them to one of the shoe stores that we had a contract with to get the shoes and get them fitted. And then we in turn would make sure that you got into the right shoes to the right child. We had bell ringing ever since I started in the club. We in turn went out on the street with our little pail that the Salvation Army gave us and rang our bells on the street corner, went to the banks and got loads of silver dollars and came around and gave everybody who was ringing bells a silver dollar to put in their bucket.
If you wanted to list the focuses, number one, the Oregon Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation, helping with eye exams and eyeglasses for people that can't afford it. We're very much into alleviating hunger with our food drives, helping women and children with our Rose Haven and our Pryor Taft home. We've done flags for first graders, which has been really fun.
Many of the Downtown Lions, they came, they participated, they did it because they wanted to do it, they volunteered, and it really took volunteerism to a height that I hadn't seen it before, and I really thought well about being a member. I really felt good about being. Once I left a meeting and so forth, I really felt good about having attended it.
The biggest contributions to Lionism that Portland Downtown has provided. One has to be promoting the creation of the Oregon Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation in 1957.
Well, Norm Ross, certainly very influential, one of the fellows who came back from World War II. Norm owned a business here in Portland, and he had a deep respect for lions and wanted to form the Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation so that we would have a foundation that could help with eye treatment, eye exams, eye surgeries. Norm was a founder of that organization and did a great job.
He must have spent hours talking to other Lions, both locally and around the state, and encouraging them to see what he saw, a need for a central organization where we could address the common goals and causes that we all were working towards.
He was just a caring person who was concerned about other people. And he put his life and everything into Lionism. We had a great time. I can remember years and years of people coming over to the house, the Heathmans and the Eckelmans, and their social life was built pretty much around the Lions Club. Been that way since grade school, since I can remember. When the idea of the foundation came up, and people were talking about back then, it seemed to be the insurmountable amount of money that needed to be raised. There was, I think, a lot of resistance to that from some of the other powers to be, but my dad said it can be done, and he talked to fundraising people, and he pretty much spearheaded and drove that. I'm not sure it would have ever taken place if it hadn't have been for him.
The groovy 60s were world events would define a generation and find the club meetings more informed and connected than ever before.
Business people, sports people, civic leaders of all kinds, and they've come and spoken to us. The meetings were well attended. We had a lot of members who came to listen to these people that were involved in the community.
Things you learn in Lions, you can use it in your personal life, your church life, your community, your business. And that's a plus.
There were many members who belonged to other organizations, just besides the Lions. They were very community-minded, and many of our members belonged to multiple organizations, which I think helped the community a lot.
We do is provide leadership forum. So we have many opportunities for people to step up and take the opportunity to lead. And people do.
Our leadership has even been extended to the international level, and the board of directors of Lions Clubs International. Our club has provided 4 board members to that illustrious body. The first board member was Edward H. Shea, and he served from 1934 to 1936. He was followed by Paul A. Eckelman, who served on the board from 1966 to 1968. Paul was followed by another Portland Downtown member, William A. Rollins, who served from 2002 to 2004. And finally, our last board member that we provided, our current president, Sonia Pulley.
People want to serve. We are very diverse. In my club, we don't turn anybody away, whether, what color they are, how old they are, how young they are, how active they are. We just want to be a part of a group who's very interesting in serving other people.
I came in as president, and my project was to build a new cabin for the Salvation Army, the Trestle Glen camp. It took a long time, actually. We didn't get the thing finished until 71.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In the 70s, raising money has always been one of the fortes of the Portland Downtown Club. Verboort sausage was sold during the fall holiday seasons, and raised a lot of money. We developed a professional full-color brochure to promote the product and a method of shipping that allowed our product to be delivered all over the United States. Our biggest customers for this product were the doctors of the Devers Eye Clinic at Good Samaritan Hospital and also the doctors of the medical center itself.
Well, anything you eat outside is tasty.
They're sausage.
In a bun with delicious mustard. The Verboort connection continued. We sold the sausage directly.
I remember that it was like a 3-day event. What I liked about it is that we were out in the community and we were basically selling Portland downtown also.
1970 would see the club elect Richard Attia president, and in 1972, the much-anticipated celebration of its 50th anniversary.
The Portland Downtown Lions had many auctions over the years.
Once we somehow got a red VW and we auctioned that off.
The most funds raised by any one event had to be our annual silent and oral auctions. A lot of fun was had, a good meal was shared, a lot of camaraderie was experienced.
We've done several wine tastings. We did a tour of Elaine's gardens.
Got our members involved. We raised a lot of money, $10,000, $20,000 at a time. And then we would give the money to our various projects, including the Oregon Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation.
Well, it started in one room, was one desk in that building.
The club reached a maximum membership in the 1980s, being just in excess of 180 individuals. Norm Ross was also highly influential in raising funds for the creation of the Good Samaritan Annex. This is the building in which the Oregon Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation currently has its offices located, and they will have their offices located there in perpetuity, as agreed to by the Lions of Oregon and the Board of Directors of Good Samaritan Hospital and Medical Center.
These are the guys that I used to hear about, Norm Ross.
Where would they ever get all that money? And it happened, which just floored me that there were so many Lions around that put their money where their heart is because we needed the Oregon Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation.
For the first 7 decades of Portland Downtown's existence, women were not allowed to be members of the club by edict from International. Many men in our club at that time felt that that was an injustice to our spouses. So they encouraged them to form their own group and helped them to form the Portland Downtown Lions Club Women's Auxiliary.
Well, there was controversy because Lions had exclusively been a men's club, and there was going to be a Supreme Court test case on this, and I think the Lions Club finally came to their senses.
Lions Clubs International invited women to come and be there into the Lions organization in 1987. That took a vote of the whole world of Lions, which is why it was so difficult. But it was the best move ever.
Oh, well, I think one of the best things that Lions ever did was admit and bring women into Lions clubs.
Why omit half of your population that wants to serve because of, if you're a man or a woman? Everybody should serve. We all live here.
So we were missing the talent of one half the population, and they've been great contributors to our club, and we have a member who went on to become an international director, and that's no small feat.
As a part of our annual auction, we would always devote a segment to raising funds for a specific cause that may or may not relate to the needs of the sightless or the hard of hearing. It could be a totally extemporaneous project. Certainly, raising funds for the Washington Park Zoo would fit that rubric.
Have you ever touched an elephant? It is amazing. They are so gentle and so soft. And you ask why I got to be close to an elephant?
And that was the needs of the lead veterinarian for a portable otoscope. If an animal at the zoo presented itself with a problem of the eyes, the animal had to be brought to the vet clinic to be examined. So rather than bringing animals in the zoo to his clinic to be examined, he could go to them.
So the vet could check this injured elephant because he only had one eye and they wanted to keep him as healthy as possible.
Needless to say, Portland Downtown got a lot of press, both locally and internationally, with pictures and articles.
Probably 5 of us from Portland Downtown that came and presented it. It was fun.
One of the things that our Lions Club has always done is try to be current and topical on events that are going on. So we've had speakers of all kinds, either local or national issues, that have come to our club and spoken about things that are of interest.
They always brought in speakers that were unusual to me, so it kind of broadened my interest in different subjects.
One of our more famous speakers was Ma Anand Sheila, secretary to Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh.
Very controversial organization that ended up having a lot of problems in Portland, but they were very prevalent in what they were doing in a little city called Antelope, and so we were able to get them as a speaker, and we had media was there.
And that banquet room that day was filled to the brim with reporters, with photographers, with cameramen, with the press. You could not find a seat in the house. By the 90s, times had changed. It clearly took 2 persons to support a family. Surplus time to contribute to good causes retrenched. Membership was impacted by many other distractions.
For the club, I think technology has been a real challenge. I think it's a hardship right now, but we are coming out of it. We have some technology savvy members who are donating their time, which is really appreciative.
Looking ahead, the Portland Downtown Lions Club is ready to meet the challenges, continued service, communication, and growth far into the future.
If you are a person who cares about other people, particularly people who are less fortunate than you, and you want to do something about it, then the Lions is where you want to do it.
Anytime I am in some location that a person asks me what is Lions, I tell them that it's a service organization, that their sole purpose is to help people in the community that need us. We need to know the different needs in our community, and you would benefit from being with a group of like-minded people.
Here is where you're gonna team up with a number of other people who have that same thing in common.
And I think why so many leaders came out of our Lions Club is because our older leaders mentored the younger ones. That was extremely important.
When I came to this group, they really followed through on if it was a fundraiser, if it was community service project, if it was just a get together amongst ourselves. We did what we said we were going to do.
Where would I like to see Portland Downtown Lions Club in 10 years? I would like to see us out in the community just like we're doing. I would like to see a whole range of members, age-wise, and diversity, because that's where you get all your ideas of hope and service and encouragement and mentorship.
It's wonderful in being in a club, a civic club, that's been around for 100 years, because a lot of them have not, and we are still going.
If the original founders can see where the organization is today and just all the service that they've done, I think they would be very well pleased and would say this has been very successful.
I think they say, we're glad you're still doing it. We're glad that you're still serving and you're still stepping up to the plate. You've taken the baton and you've run with it, and you're still running.
I would think he would say that we have come a really long way. I would hope he'd be proud of all that we have done for Portland and the surrounding areas. I would think he'd be proud of all the leaders that we have developed, but especially the service that we do.
I can say that if he was still alive, he would still be involved. I'm sure he would still have perfect attendance. It's 100 years is a long time. It's a milestone. The fact that things could continue on that long is pretty amazing, actually, and he would be proud of being part of that.
So a huge congratulations to the Portland Downtown Lions Club for making it to 100. And I applaud your work and look forward to seeing what else you're going to do.
Finally, every Lion cheerfully has agreed to aid his fellow men by giving of sympathy to those in distress, as well as aid to the weak and subsistence to the needy. And with such ideals in mind, Organized for Service cannot help but become a factor in this community, Portland, Oregon.
100 years is an amazing accomplishment. I think that camaraderie is necessary to make this happen. And the Portland Downtown Lions have it. All I can say is I sure hope that the next 100 years will be just as rewarding.
The Portland Downtown Lions Club has become an integral part of our great city, in service to those in need and keeping the promise to Helen Keller now and into our future. The Portland Downtown Lions Club, celebrating 100 years of service.